Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Don't forget to eat your Quaker oats. They're good for you.
All right, so say your name, spell your name, and say what you do.
Seriously, spell my name?
You don't ever, yes, because, yes, it's standard. And if they
I've
don't
never had anyone ask me to spell my
they're
name.
not doing it right, because you know what? People spell their names in unusual ways, and then when there's a title underneath, they go, oh, they spelled it UBMA.
I think usually they check with production. No?
Yeah,
Hi,
don't do it then, I don't care. We have to do it anyway.
my name is Nick, and I am the makeup assistant for... Sorry, Nick. You want to go by?
That would be that. Yeah, because otherwise it's going to be a while.
Go by, because I'll pick my nose while you do it. I haven't really started yet.
Okay.
And action.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I am Barney Berman. I am the prosthetic.
So, how important is it if you're designing a new character, you know, you're doing makeup for a new character, to have this kind of, you know, connection to the character? I mean, you know what I mean? You have to, is that something that you think is important?
Well, personally, I find when I'm designing a character, I always feel like I am connected to that character. I've gotten to work with Doug Tate on a few different jobs, and one of them being Star Trek on this. And both those films, I personally sat down and worked on the design for his character. And I think because of that, because I'm directly involved and it's sort of feeding out of, no, it's all right, whatever creativity I'm tapping into at the moment, I feel sort of emotionally connected. What more could I say? It's the Reaper. Dear to me, in a way. And I've designed other characters, or I've made other characters that have been other people's designs. I have other people working for me doing designs, and they'll come up with something, and we'll pick that. I'm happy to do it, and I love that character. But there's always a little, it's always a little more special when I can be the one to sort of spawn that look and that character.
How long does it take? I mean, you know, it's always kind of legendary about like how long makeup takes. How long does it take to do his makeup, like his story?
To do Doug Tate's makeup and change him into the Reaper takes about an hour and a half, hour 15, something like that. You know, one thing I've noticed is that a lot of actors will go on talk shows or do an EPK or something, and you'll see on DVD behind the scenes they'll talk about, oh, I was in makeup for 10 hours. It almost never happens. I think actors have a tendency to exaggerate that. I have seen makeups go on for 3 hours, 4 hours. Maybe occasionally there's a 5 or 6 hour makeup that's really extreme, but it almost never is the case. So I'm not saying it never happens, but probably not as often as actors make it out to be. I designed Doug's makeup to be simple and quick and effective, because I know he's got to play this character jumping around through a carnival at night and being very active. So I didn't want to limit him. I didn't want to restrict him. And Kimberly also said she wanted it to have a certain sex appeal about him. Don't tell Doug I said this, but, you know, he's a tall, good-looking man, and I wanted to try to keep something in his face and his basic structure alive, and I wanted to enhance what he already has, rather than completely smother it in prosthetics.
But I noticed when I came in that there were, you know, you've added, what have you added, like, to his, you know what I mean? So what did you add?
Well, so for for this makeup, we it's not even a we, it's me. For this makeup, I designed a sort of what we call a raccoon appliance that kind of just goes around the eyes like this, sort of like a raccoon mask. And I built the eyes out just slightly, the eyelids, and I glue a piece of black nylon behind it, and it works great, especially when he's got heavy shadows on him. I wanted a look of him to be like he was a skull that had been rotting and bleached out in the desert, and have that kind of the essence of that. And so I also gave him dentures. Then I just pulled his gums back, so his teeth are sort of elongated and a little bit crooked, and mostly almost went with like a black and white kind of effect, where it's just harsh darks and harsh lights with a heavy contrast.
This is good. Anything that I wouldn't know to ask you, or that you want to add?
I can't even think of anything clever. How's that?
It doesn't have to be.
It does have to be clever.
Anything else in the process, or, Otherwise, you're good. It's good. It's really good, so it's fine. I just always ask that because, 2 hours later, people come up to me and go,
Right. Well, what if I don't think about it for a couple of hours, and then suddenly it pops into my head, like, oh, I gotta tell you about this.
No. Too late.
This is the Reaper.
Too late.
Oh,
Send it in on the website.
damn it.
All right, we're good. That's good.
No, it's all right.
Looking into your credits, it's not just you. We'll, introduce you and talk about it.
No, it's fine. I don't know. What more could I say? It's the Reaper.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Plus, we're going to show here, but not all of him, just something.
Right.
All right, we're good. So you should go get him. The Reaper. Yeah, good. I think that's good. Good. Yeah. You could lean a little bit. So, talk about the fact that you don't do just general makeup. Not that you can't, but you don't do general makeup. That you're here to do special effects makeup, and what the difference is, and why you decided to specialize, and if that was something you started out wanting to do.
Yeah. I never wanted to be a makeup artist. You want more? Okay. I grew up around this. I grew up in this business. My father was actually the first. He and his partner then, which was also his mentor, a man named John Chambers, he and my father started the first makeup effects studio, or makeup studio at all. It was outside the big studio system, which they actually started because they were had a contract to work with the CIA and design secretive makeups. So they couldn't do that on the lot. So that's why they started this initial makeup effects studio. So this is the environment I grew up in, and when it came time to needing to have a job and have my own means of support, it was like a natural step. I just went right into this, and yeah, it's been it's a great, fun, artistic endeavor. Some people hate me because they wanted to do it since they were 2 years old, and I just kind of I just grew up around it.
But I'm guessing that it's much harder than doing just natural makeup for actors. So
to me, doing effects makeup is harder in that it takes a lot more preparation and a lot more work and a lot more, generally speaking, of course, a lot more just really fine detail work to make something live and not look artificial. On the other hand, straight makeup, basic base and powder and lipstick and stuff, is harder for me because unless it's a really specialized project, my heart isn't in that. There have been a few times when I've done it and I really, really enjoyed it. But I find that it's when I'm taking something that's artificial, and bringing it to life. And there's a point when maybe you just add that certain detail in the sculpture, or just add that sort of paint, and all of a sudden it lives. And that's the excitement for me.
Just to play devil's advocate, I mean, that was a great answer, but just to play devil's advocate, I mean, really, there's a lot more, what's the word, responsibility, let's say, because, you know what I mean, you're given like a very specialized, I'm guessing that the characters that you're going to do are really going to be key, you know, they're focusing on them, or they're key characters, so.
Yeah. Well, you know, the late, great Stan Winston said that he's not he's not a makeup artist, he's a character creator. I have an acting background. I pursued acting for about 20 years, and even though I don't pursue it anymore, I still do it on occasion. But I find when I can create something like The Reaper, and it all comes together, and it's this kind of new magical character that no one's quite done before, it feels like it's me. It might as well be me. It's sort of my baby, my creation. And yeah, there's a heavy responsibility in coming up with just the right character, because he's the one that's going to shine in the film. Another thing Stan Winston used to say, he'd ask people who was the star of Frankenstein, and people would say, you know, Boris Karloff. He said, no, Frankenstein. People went to see the monster. They don't care who's in it or what the guy's name is. What they care about is what does he look like, how does he affect them. And one thing, even as a kid, I always wanted to be able to affect people through cinema. And so it's exciting when I can do that.
That was great.
Yeah. There you go. Now I feel complete.